Okay. Recently, Blake Lively attended TIME100. This is a list of influential people of this year. And I recently learned that just because you're in that list doesn't mean you're a good influence. At least that just gives me a peace of mind, because apparently they had like a bunch of bad people in their list as well, like all the bad people from the history, they had them in their list as well. Obviously she made a speech, and she alluded to the lawsuit that's going on. I am going right into the thing, because if you're watching this video, either you're watching it for me because you know me in real life, or you already know about the situation. And if you don't know about the situation, comment, let me know that you want to know about the whole situation. I will give you a detailed thing. In short, I'm team Justin Baldoni. I don't trust a single word Blake Lively says. Even since this fiasco started, I started watching Candace Owens, and after her opinions she formed because of the people she knows in real life, she came to the conclusion that Blake Lively is even a victim of somebody else, namely Ryan Reynolds. But that's neither here nor there. She's enabling him. Anyway, let's just jump into the speech. We're here for the speech. Let's go.
Good evening. Thank you, Time, for having all of us. Thank you so much for having me here tonight to be an honoree amongst you all.
First things first, not even 10 seconds in, I'm already stopping. She looks gorgeous. She's like a Barbie. I don't know, like blonde hair, pink dress. The dress fits her so beautifully. She looks like a Barbie. She looks like a doll. She's so pretty, and it just makes me angry. Like, you're so pretty, you're somewhat talented, you have good connections. Why would you do this to yourself and to co-stars and to the whole movement? That's just what's bothering me. At the root of my anger towards her and Amber Heard is that they are making a fool of the whole movement that is very important. I mean, I don't have to say this, but like, it should be obvious, but it just bothers me in that sense. But at the same time, I'm being entertained by how she's falling apart. She made her bed, might as well lay in it. But let's continue.
Amongst you all, as well as those who have come before, is surreal and deeply significant. In a time where the most valuable currency seems to be anger, it feels like an act of defiance to commune and celebrate all the good that is alive in the world. And the many here tonight who either challenge the systems and or who show us that magic exists in Earth in their gifts, talents, bravery, art, and life. So tonight I applaud each of you.
First of all, we've been making fun of her since this whole lawsuit, because we've been watching her previous interviews as well. She loves word salad. I can't preface how much it irritates me when she and people like her, like Meghan Markle, they keep using like synonyms, but not real synonyms, like bunch of words that would make sense in a sentence. Like, yeah, it makes sense, but just chop, we don't have all day. Just make your point and finish your sentence. Just be done with it. I don't know, it feels like somebody else did say that her writing, or was it Meghan Markle's, one of the word salad person, the way they speak is apparently how a high schooler would write in her creative writing class. I've never taken a creative writing class, and I've never had any inclination to write, so I don't know much about that. But yeah, it does sound fake. Anyway, let's continue.
It's an interesting thing to be called influential. It's most definitely an honor, But what does influence mean? By definition, it's the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. To have an effect. That's not only an honor, it's a significant responsibility. How we use that matters. Who and what we stand up for, and what we stay silent about, what we monetize versus what we actually live, matters. I have so
what we stand up to and what we stand silent for. She's alluding to her court case. I'm assuming.
I have so much to say about the last 2 years of my life, but tonight is not the forum. What I will speak to separately is the feeling of being a woman who has a voice today. And since I could speak, because of the pain, caution, and fight of the many women who have paved the way and the men who stood beside them.
Okay, couple things. First of all, what the fuck do you mean by since I have a voice today? Let's just rewind that.
What I will speak to separately is the feeling of being a woman who has a voice today.
Feeling of being a woman who has a voice today. If you don't know, she's a Nepa baby. She has a actress sister. She has a parent that is in the industry, and she got her biggest role when she was 19. And it wasn't because she was the best out of the people who had the casting. I'm not saying she doesn't have a talent. I'm not saying that at all. But let's just not pretend like you have not had any voice. You have the voice. You've always had the voice since you could speak, basically. So let's not pretend that you just got the voice for the first time. And let's not forget as well, this is not her first time attending this TIME100 gala. She was chosen as one of the influential people once before. This is her second time. And then what she said?
And since I could speak, because of the pain, caution, and fight of the many women who have paved the way and the men who stood beside them.
First of all, let me say this again and again and again. I don't hate men. It may sound like I do. I don't. I am married to one. I have a father. I have many beloved male friends. I don't hate men. What I do hate is enabling of males who don't know how to act around women. I have so many things to say, but it's like I need to elaborate on all of them, and I don't want to get into stuff like that right now. But yeah, the way that she does, like, men who stood beside them.
And the men who stood beside them.
Oh, that's so cute. She loves her husband, and her husband loves her. They are always side by side. Good job. Good job. You're both terrible people. Good job.
Millions I will never know the name of, because every life, every act, big or small, affects another. Before I say more, I want to warn that I will speak about tonight covers trauma, so please feel free to step away if you need. My life was influenced most by my mother, sitting here tonight, Willie Elaine McAlpin. She's an eternal optimist, and she's always leaving me messages, hooping and hollering and saying, "Whoop, life's just a bowl of cherries." It's true, always. And she'll get your number tonight. She'll leave you those messages, so please be warned. But at her urging and her unwavering...
Okay, that whole part was so unnecessary, but because she is such a word salady person, she just lives for that shit. She just has to do that. And if you watch like a couple of her interviews, she always finds a moment to do that. I don't know why, I don't know how. She's really talented at that. Let's continue.
Her unwavering bravery, she wanted me to share with you that she is a survivor of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman. I've watched her conceal her raw and undeserved...
Okay, question. Pause the video and answer me in the comments. Worst crime someone can commit against a woman. When I say something like that, what do you think about? What crime comes to your mind? Just let me know.
I've watched her conceal her raw and undeserved shame my entire life. So as her daughter, being asked to share this today is monumental. If we name it, we change it. Just as our fellow TIME100 honoree, the incredible Giselle Pellicot, put it to every woman who... It's not for us to have shame, it's for them.
It's not for us to have shame, it's for them. I'm guessing them is the people who commit the crime. And yeah, round of applause. This part, oh my god, tell me if I'm tripping, because I feel like she reached out for her mother's hand and her mother held her hand, and then I feel like she was trying to get up and Blake told her to sit. That's what I'm like let's look at this again. I feel like that's what's happening. She said she wants to get up and Blake says, no, sit. Like, I'm not done yet, sit. But let's continue.
My mom never got justice from her work acquaintance who attempted to take her life when she was the mother of 3 young kids years before I was born.
Okay. Apparently, to Blake, the worst crime that someone can commit against a woman is somebody attempted to take her life. This is the worst crime that can happen to a woman. I don't know about you. I will know from the comments if you commented. But when I hear about a worst crime that can happen to a woman, my mind immediately goes to rape and torture, human trafficking. That's where my mind is when you say worst crime. Because I'm sorry, this may be a hot take, but I'm fine dead. I'm fine with being dead. What I'm not fine with is somebody taking advantage of me, physically, emotionally, doesn't matter, over and over and over and over again, and I have no say in it. I feel like this would be even worse than being dead. What do you think? Let me know. This is genuinely what I think. I'm not saying this just to go against Blake Lively. This is just honestly what I think. But let me know.
When she was the mother of 3 young kids years before I was born. She has always credited her beating heart today with the story she heard from another woman in a similar circumstance, speaking on the radio as my mom drove home one day, entirely unaware of the future ahead in which she would call upon this critical moment to save her own life. The woman painfully and graphically shared how she escaped. And because of hearing that woman speak to her experience instead of shutting down in fear and unfair shame, my mom is alive today. She was saved by a woman whose name she'll never know.
Okay. She's going on a full circle. She said, in the beginning, she said that we influence people who we don't even know the names of. And now she says somebody who she doesn't know the name of, that person saved my mom's life. Therefore, I'm alive right now and I am potentially saving somebody else's life. This was the dressing to the salad that she's I'm sorry, that's called storytelling. Okay, I know, I'm just making fun of her because it's her. Okay, what we know is her mom survived a attempted murder because she heard somebody tell her escape story on the radio, and when she was being attempted to be killed, she thought about that moment, and that person who escaped story kept her alive. She didn't froze in the moment. I totally would freeze. I would not be doing anything, like, kill me. I don't want to deal with this. Kill me. Just be done with it. It's no joking matter. I'm sorry. I understand it's a traumatic thing. I just make fun of stuff because that's how I cope, okay? Oh, also, she said she didn't think about the shame, but she thought about like keeping herself alive. First of all, again, like when you say worst crime and when you say the criminal should feel shame, I'm sorry, but I don't think shame comes close to murder. It is more related to rape and domestic violence. Like that's just what I think. Can you not, baby? Can you not? When you say shame, I feel like shame is more related to rape and domestic violence, not attempted murder. I'm sorry, but you could say morally corrupt. You could say sick in the head. Anyway,
I am alive and standing here with you all today, being honored because of a woman whose name I'll never know. I am here and my mom is here because that woman not only survived, but she told others how. It's a silent torch of womanhood that we come to know, a pact that privately we must show others how to survive, literally or spiritually. We don't let our daughters know, but one day we break their hearts by letting them in on the secret that we kept from them as they pranced around in princess dresses, that they are not and will likely never be safe, at work, at home, in a parking lot, in a medical office, online, in any space they inhabit, physically, emotionally, professionally. But why does that torch have to be our burden to carry in private?
They are not and will likely never be safe at their work, parking lot, whatever. First of all, true. Second of all, she put the word work in it because she was assaulted at her workplace. She's trying to allude to the same situation again.
The superpower of female triumph, though. I have touched it, I have shaken hands with it, and I am looking at it all over this room here right now. These are the happy endings that we must see as women and girls. We can make it to the end alive, physically or emotionally, and we will, and we do, and we thrive, even when it doesn't feel possible. Even when we are in sharp pain. Never underestimate a woman's ability to endure pain. Life's just a bowl of cherries. So thank you to every woman whose strength brought life to me and my 4 children. And thank you to every man, including my sweet husband, who are kind and good when no one is watching. And to all the communities across the gender, age, political, geographical, and racial spectrum who fight every day just to be safe. I see you, and I share tonight and my influence with you for as long as I have the ability to affect even one other person. Thank you so much.
I'm just gonna say that all she said towards the end, I agree. It's just that I wish it was somebody else who said those words, not her. It just sounds so like sarcastic coming out of her mouth. I just don't like it. Like, it was fun in the beginning when this whole thing was coming out and you were seeing how delusional she was, but now it's not funny anymore. It's not funny anymore. And when she's acting like this, like, it would be one thing if she actually felt like how she was claiming to feel in her lawsuit. It wasn't the truth, like, it wasn't the reality, but that's how she was feeling. It would be one thing. It's a whole another thing. Like, we can see right through her after those messages, and her husband, and oh my god, she's like, she keeps referencing her husband as a nice person. This whole time I was fooled that he was a good guy. He was actually a good guy. Like, I thought he was actually a good guy. Maybe she was fooled as well this whole time. We don't know. We can't know. I'm just angry at the fact that she had this story, like her mom's story. Like, apparently her mom wanted her to share now, not when she was doing a movie about a literal domestic violence in a gala about 100 influential people. Make it make sense. What her mom went through wasn't a domestic violence, I understand, but it's still a crime or attempted crime against a woman. So there's your story. There is your story to talk about. And again, if we're being a devil's advocate, okay, like you may say, back then when that was being filmed, her mom was not ready to get out there with her story, or she wanted her to do so, but she, like Blake Lively, didn't want to speak about it because I guess it was too emotional for her. That is one situation. Those two situations is where I would be like, okay, I'll give you that. I kind of don't believe that that was the situation. After all of these, I'm like, am I being too naive? So let's be cynical. I may even say that this story is not even true, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and will go with my first thought that either her mom or her was not ready to share the story. That's why the story was not out and about when it was the actual plot of the whole movie. Well, yeah, not domestic violence. Again, I understand. Let's not be stupid. I understand. It's not it wasn't a domestic violence. It was still a crime against a woman. Statistically, crimes against women are committed more by a partner than a random person, than a coworker. So yeah. That was my husband. Anyway, when this movie was in the making, people were hating on it because the book itself was glamorizing domestic violence, which I never understood. Like, I don't understand how you would think that book is glamorizing domestic violence. Because at the end, person who is suffering the domestic abuse leaves the relationship. It's not like by the end she fixes him, she teaches him to be a good person. No, she leaves him. How often do you see in a romance book, which was, again, that was another point, that book was not a romance, it was wrongly categorized. How often do you see by the end of the book the couple who you've been rooting for, they break up? How often do you see that? Hardly ever. Yeah, I would say so. Most of the time, the good guy fixes the bad guy and they live happily ever after. It didn't happen in this book. Like, I feel like the book gave you the correct messaging. What else do you want? Anyways, but I guess maybe it did not really give the messaging because Blake Lively did not get the message. Either that or like she did, I think she read the book after she got the role, but she may not even read the book. We don't know. We may never know. Blake didn't get the message, and when she did get it, she chewed her words so badly that the salad turned into a mulch, and you can't even do shit with that mulch. And I guess if I were a cow, I would eat.